Well, as is often the case with this kind of summit, it will be events happening on the sidelines that will be attracting most of the attention. And undoubtedly, one of the biggest stories of this G20 will be the meeting between President Xi and President Biden. It will be the first time that they've met in person since Biden took office, but analysts are not too optimistic of much coming out of these talks, purely because of how strained relations are at the moment between the US and China, and the fact that they're really going to struggle to find much common ground on a number of the issues that they are likely to discuss. Now, President Biden spent the weekend in Cambodia meeting with Southeast Asian leaders, and that's because he's trying to improve relations between the US and this part of the world, purely because of the growing influence of Beijing in this region. Away from that meeting, and the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine is likely to dominate proceedings, it was hoped that President Putin would be going to the meeting in Bali, but he's decided not to go. We understand that President Zelensky will be joining via video link at some stage. And that ongoing conflict is having an impact around the world still. Indonesia, who are hosting the G20, well, they rely heavily on grain imports from Ukraine. Obviously, they've been affected by the conflict, and that's seen rising food prices in Indonesia. And this kind of theme of cost of living crisis, rising food prices, rising inflation, that's going to be another key issue that leaders will have to try and tackle at the G20. Many of these leaders will go to Indonesia after having attended the COP27 summit in Egypt, and it's hoped that those conversations about climate change will also continue in Bali. It's obviously an issue that's been felt in this part of the world, where we've seen a number of extreme weather events in recent years. And as ever at a G20 summit, many people will be discussing security. One example at the moment is concerns over North Korea, who have been conducting a number of missile tests, which have been causing a lot of concern in South Korea. So there's plenty to discuss. It's a difficult time at the moment for relations between a number of the G20 members, so it's going to be a fascinating meeting to watch. Reporting from Singapore, Adam Hancock for TICKER News.